Citizen Talks is a podcast series brought to you by TRT World Citizen, featuring discussions with humanitarians and activists, artists, and changemakers, exploring the global humanitarian issues that shape our society and the world at large. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Citizen Talks from TRT World Citizen. This is your host, Minkailu, and we are joined today by Burak Candan, the co-founder of Kidolog. Burak, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, too. It's an honor to be here.
We really appreciate it. So we're going to get into all the details of everything that you are working on and the reason that you're here. So first of all, let's start by talking a little bit about your background and how you came to found Kidolog.
I'm Burak, co-founder of Kidolog. I'm a business administration graduate in 2013. So until this time, I had an experience in corporate firms. I had worked in corporate firms. But at the time, I understood that I'm not the person of that world. I need to I need to initiate my own business. So with my colleague and I, we started open in conventional businesses. I have a few ventures in food and beverage industry in different cities of Turkey, in Ankara, Eskişehir, and Tekirdağ. There are coffee shops and we have restaurants. They're still profitably continuing their works. But we had a dream with my colleague, Eray, that we have to start an internet-based startup because we are amateurly working for the software. We are taking course from online. So one day in the pandemic period, we had an idea that we have to create a platform for the families and we have to connect the specialists with the families. So maybe in the later we will talk about that. Its name is Kidolog, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that. What is Kidolog? What does it do?
Kidolog is a family tech company, actually. One of the products is that we are connecting specialists with the families. So we have in 10 different categories, over 400 specialists right now. The main categories are the psychologists, child development specialists, lactation consultants, and etc. So our families, our counselors, purchasing online sessions, and they're doing their online session on our platform. We do not use an intermediate platform for them, so they are totally secure. We can use our website or mobile applications. So one of the product is that we are connecting specialist experts, advisors, how do you define them, with the families.
What are the main subjects that these people are talking about with the specialists for the most part?
Actually, our story started with a lactation counseling service. My colleague and I had a problem with his wife when his daughter born. They had some breastfeeding problems with his wife. They couldn't solve that. So they found counselor on Instagram. They sent money to its IBAN. They had online sessions and they solved their problem. And until this time, their daughter breastfeeded. So we said that we have to create a secure platform for these problems and in the different categories. And families should use this platform to solve their problems. Because yes, there's a problem. Families cannot reaching the true and qualified experts in their neighborhoods right now.
So lactation is one issue, for example, that they'll talk about. But what are some of the other ones? Just general child rearing, like developmental processes of children. Like what are the kinds of things?
Actually, Kidolog is mostly focused on the families and the problems of the families. Okay. But on our platform, any adult individuals can also use our platform with the clinical psychologist too. There are lots of thousands of problems while looking after a child, while raising a child.
Right, sure.
But the main problems are the breastfeeding, peer bullying, school problems, prenatal period problems, postnatal period problems. There are thousands of problems.
Yeah.
So in these 10 different categories, we are trying to solve the problems of the families on our platform.
Cool, very cool. So what's the typical profile of your average client? Who are they and why are they seeking your services?
How we can define our persona is that 25 to 40 years old women's, mostly white collar, working in white collar jobs. Mostly they have a higher education of high school and above. And this is this is the first persona of our platform. And 86% of our users are women. So men and fathers are using our platform too, but mostly the women and the mothers actually.
Okay. So I want to talk about something sort of related to the social aspect of this kind of project. Turkey it's a country that has it's a country of tradition. It's got very strong traditions. And that includes a very strong emphasis on the core family unit, the strength of the family unit. But that includes not just the mother, the father, the kids, but also relatives, in-laws, and sometimes, it even extends to neighbors and your local community members. Everybody's kind of working together collectively to build out the family, support the family. And there's, I think, a sense of community here that has eroded in many other countries. You don't see it in other societies. They've sort of moved on to a more individualistic kind of way of functioning. So usually in more communal societies, the kind of knowledge that you have around child rearing is something that's passed down from generation to generation. So there's obviously a demand for your services. That's clear, demonstrated by the success that you've seen. Do you feel like this is the result of perhaps the beginnings of the breakdown of these traditional family structures in Turkey? What would you theorize as the reason for this current sort of knowledge gap in Turkish society?
Actually, it's not in the Turkey. It's all around the world that there's a trend. The family types are shifting from big families, common families, to the nuclear families. We see that. Maybe the father, mother, and one child, maybe. This is a typical family. And also maybe the father and mother. There's no child. So we see that we are living in our nuclear families right now. We don't have our grandmothers, grandpas on our homes. It was in the older times. Our fathers maybe lived on just those families. So they had an opportunity. Our elder relatives had an opportunity to learn from their grandmas, grandfathers, to ask a question about their children. But today's mothers and fathers do not have an opportunity right now to ask a question because they don't have any relative in their houses. So why Kidolog is successful right now is that we connect them with the specialists, with the professionals. Actually, right now, they want this. They don't want to learn from their relatives. They don't want to learn from grandmothers and grandfathers. Yeah. They want to learn from the professionals. Maybe it's a trend. Maybe it's a social media trend. But today's families, especially today's mothers, choose to learn from the professionals.
Interesting.
Whatever the problem is. Maybe it's a lactation problem. Maybe it's a psychological thing. Maybe it's a child development problems. So they want to learn from the professional. So that's why Kidolog is right now successful. That's the reason. You
feel that there's a shift to sort of a more kind of, I wouldn't say not exactly scientific, but kind of scientific approach to child raising, that people desire, like something more based with facts and figures and data and this kind of thing,
In the past, we don't have so much information about this, raising a child. Today, there are lots of different things, maybe in the pediatry also, and also psychology, and also maybe lactation, and also speech and language therapists also. So today's mothers want to learn the true knowledge, not only social media, they want to ask it directly to the professional. So that's why Kidolog is successful.
So how are you guys, what's your selection process for your experts, right? Because there's like a lot of different theories and philosophies and ways of, thinking about these kinds of things. Every other week there's a new book coming out about this new psychological thing with children. Like, how are you, I guess, sort of certifying these people to, come and
actually,
work with your clients?
It's one of the hardest problems, but Kidolog achieves it very successfully. So we have a 3-step procedure in there. Let me talk about our foundation process. We founded our company in the middle of the pandemic in February 2021. So when we founded our company, we are planning with my colleague that maybe we have lots of tough times to find an expert, maybe to take it to the platform. No, it was not like that. we had thousands of candidates there because all the experts, all the advisors were in their homes.
Yeah.
They cannot have an opportunity to work their jobs. So we had thousands of candidates. So we choose the most successful ones. Yeah, as I mentioned, we have a 3-level steps while choosing our expert. The first steps, we are checking the documents, diplomas, etc. And the second step, we are having 1 week, one by one Zoom platform interviews with them. And if they are successful, for the third step, we are having an orientation process. And after that, we are approving their profiles, and they are serving on our platform.
Cool.
That's the process.
Okay. So based on your experience now, having run this business for a while, and you're seeing what the customers are wanting, in terms of raising a child in the modern world, what do you think are the biggest challenges that the modern parent is facing in Turkey?
As the world going to one village, the problems are rising. Maybe I can define the first 3 problems. Maybe the first one is the peer bullying right now. It's really a biggest problem
amongst the children.
Amongst the children, yeah. Not only in Turkey, all around the world, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe in other countries too.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard right now for the families to protect their children. So they have to take care of their children in homes, but it's not enough. They have to take care in the schools too. They have to have meetings with the teachers. And also maybe other families of their children's friends. So the first one, I think, the peer bullying. The second one, I think, there is a increase of using harmful substances like drugs, alcohols, maybe tobacco. Using age is really decreased right now. It's in the primary school.
Really?
Yeah, it's really awful.
Wow.
But modern world problems, this is one of them.
Yeah.
Families have to be really careful. And actually, how can they solve these problems? They cannot solve it. But there's just one thing they can do. They can choose their children's friends.
Right.
They have to choose that environment. They have to create a secure environment for their children, because it's impossible to prevent them if the children have bad friends. So the second problem is that. Maybe the third problem is that our today's children is not have opportunity to connect the soil. So they're living in concrete buildings.
Yeah.
They suppose that the fruits growing in the markets.
Yeah.
so that's the most biggest problem. So I really recommend the families to that. Please take your children to the villages, not the parks and the city centers. Yeah. I really recommend to take them to villages. Please create them an opportunity to interact with the animals, with the nature, maybe with the elder people. So maybe the 3 top problems is, I think, these ones.
Yeah. What is it that you think the impacts of that are? Just like, I guess, a personal curiosity, right? Because I also have a son. He's about 15 months old, right? And, my wife and I have had this discussion many times about the same issue, right? Yeah. We need to take him more to the forests and, here and there, and to be out in nature. It's good for the kid's development, but I wonder, like, what's the sort of impact of that? Is it just like maybe it's, I wonder, like a psychological commodification of everything, like everything is just an object to be used, as opposed to, being part of the world that you also exist in, like you're connected to nature, so you can't just, take things as disposable, right?
Yeah.
Everything is disposable.
Yeah.
Everything is just, you can take it and throw away. It means nothing. You know, what kinds of impacts is this?
Actually, there's a huge impact because today's children lives in their own rooms. They have virtual friends. They have video games. They don't even have real friends. I'm at 19's children, so we were in the street. We played soccer. But today's children are not in the street.
Yeah, our parents didn't even know where we were until like nighttime.
Children is in its own room. He or she have virtual friends, virtual games, but that's not real life.
Yeah.
So I think the third thing is that please take your children to the villages. That please show them the real world, because that's not the case. They cannot be successful with that virtual environment. They have to see the challenges of the nature, have to interact with the animals, with the nature, with the elder people maybe. After that time, they can really understand what's going on outside there. They can have a passion for their life. Maybe they have a better opportunity to have a good communication skills. I think the biggest impact is that.
Yeah, I would agree. So this is kind of like a sort of a unique business model in the sense that it's also, you know, providing a social benefit, right? So what are some of the challenges that you face as, you know, you're operating a business? It's, again, meant to provide social benefit, but it's got to generate profit, right? How do you balance, I guess, the social enterprise aspect, you know, with the purely business aspect? Yeah,
it's one of the toughest challenges of us because we are trying to make profit, and also we are trying to create impact for the society.
Yeah.
How we achieved this is that Kidolog achieved and established a win-win system, both for their specialist advisors and also for the families, for the clients. How the advisors win is that they earn money on our platform. They are doing their own real jobs on our platform. And also they are reaching thousands of wide clients ecosystem. So what the families benefits is that they are reaching qualified experts all around the world with a really low prices. So both sides are winning. So Kidolog is winning is here that. Also Kidolog achieved that impact targets and also making profit in the system. So I think that's the reason why we are balancing this problem.
Good. Okay, cool. So in that same kind of vein, right, talking about let's talk a little bit about the business side. What's the nature right now of the startup space in Turkey? We talked about it briefly a little bit before, but do you find that, you know, the infrastructure for building and for, you know, for enterprise is strong here in terms of the government support, in terms of, you know, the availability of human talent, opportunities to raise capital, et cetera, like, is this, you know, is Turkey sort of on the rise in terms of this climate, this startup climate?
Actually, Turkey is in a rise in this startup ecosystem. Turkey has a vital and energetic ecosystem, startup ecosystem right now. Yes, of course, there are a few problems too. One of the biggest problems is that bureaucratic and legal obstacles in front of the startups, because technology is ahead of the legal procedures. So when trying to make an innovation, there are some bureaucratic and legal problems. Maybe I can recommend for our government officials to solve it, but it's not just for the Turkey. It's all around the world, something like that. That those legal problems are the same everywhere. But that's one of the problems, maybe. The second one is that, yes, there are really newly founded initiatives for the fundings. There are lots of funding groups and also crowdfunding companies, but that's not enough. Actually, the government should support the Anatolian firms to invest the startups
Like
in
venture capital firms.
Yeah, of course. Turkey is not the Istanbul and Ankara. There are lots of thousands really clever youngs all around Turkey.
Yeah.
So I think maybe there can be some tax incentives, something like that. I don't know the way, but the firms in the Anatolia should be backed to invest the startups in their maybe local technoparks, maybe something like that.
Is there a place that you would equate to like Silicon Valley here? Do they have anything like that you would consider, the Silicon Valley of Turkey?
Actually, yes. Actually, I don't believe that something Silicon Valley. Yeah, that was really important for the United States at that time.
Sure.
But
it's changed.
Yeah, change.
Yeah, it's changed in a big way.
With the communication opportunities right now in this 2023, right now we are living, that's not really an obligation to be in a valley. If you have a great team, if you have a great ecosystem, and if you can find the money, as I mentioned before, there's the Silicon Valley of your. So you can create your own Silicon Valley in your city. Actually, yes, there are lots of good ecosystems in Turkey right now, maybe in Istanbul, in Ankara too. But it's not an obligation right now, I think. I don't believe that right now.
Okay. So back to the functional model of Kidolog, I understand that you are working on a number of additional services and business models for the future. Can you tell us about some of your plans and also some of the other branches of what you guys have underneath your company umbrella?
We are trying to create a family tech, global family tech company for Kidolog under the Kidolog brand. But one of the new products is that, as I mentioned before, that Ridki is one of them. It's a digital interactive story and game application. It will be for the children. And also our second product is that called as Patoy. It will be dog walkers will be in there, and also some dog cares on our platform. So these two brands will be under the Kidolog brand, Patoy and Ridki. So what are we trying to reach is that we have to create a global family tech company under the umbrella brand of the Kidolog. So we are aiming to solve all the problems of a family. It includes mothers and fathers, and also children, and also pets. So this is the features target of our company.
Very cool. So like a holistic family.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have anything for the elderly folks planned? Or?
Actually, yeah, it's on our targets too, but maybe in the future. That's a tough question because it will be a real challenge for us to be successful on all these fields.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there are lots of ideas for the elder peoples too, but it's not in our agenda right now. So
I'm curious because you guys you have clientele in a lot of different countries. Are there different challenges when you're working with people in different that are living in different regions? Like if you're dealing with, German clientele or people that are in France or in the UK. I imagine most of them are still Turks, but do they have different expectations, different kind of desires? Do they want something different from the platform?
Actually, yeah, there are lots of different cultures affects the people and affects the ways of solution. But on our platform, you have an opportunity to choose your own experts and advisor. So it's really a great opportunity for the families because they are reading their CVs, they are watching the 1-minute video CVs of the experts, and they are choosing their own specialist on the platform. So it's a great chance. If they are not really happy with their advisor, they can really easily shift it to another one. So as I'm saying that, if you came to our platform, you will definitely find an expert which fits you. So we have over 400 specialists on our platform. So you will solve your problem.
That's a promise directly from the co-founder. Yeah, you will solve your problem. Okay. So what's the ultimate goal here? Like, what does the final product do you think look like in 5 to 10 years from now?
we want to be a global family tech brand all around the world. When a mother and father learned baby news, they should immediately download our app to their mobile phones. That's the ultimate goal of us.
Cool. So you're talking, you want also the English speakers and the Arabic speakers and the Hindi, Urdu, Chinese, everything.
That's the same for all around the world. We want to be all in all the mobile phones of mostly for the families.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you guys are very successful.
Thank you so much.
So we're getting close to the end of our time here. So I want to ask if there is any additional information that you would like to share with our audience. Anything that we haven't discussed.
Actually, I want to address to the young listeners who are listening us right now. We need lots of entrepreneurs right now in Turkey. So please be entrepreneur. Please create your team. Please choose your aim, and please have a eager to solve a problem. The schools is not the all case for life. Yes, schools is a part of the life, but that's not the case. So I really recommend our young listeners, please be entrepreneurs.
Get out there and chase your dreams.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's a good message for the kids.
Thanks so much.
So where can we, where is all of your information? Where can we find your website, your socials? You know, how can people connect with you guys?
They can type kidolog.com. That's the website of our platform. And also they can find our mobile applications on the mobile markets too. And also they can follow us on social media, mostly in LinkedIn and Instagram. That's the primary channels of we are reaching our customers.
Okay, wonderful. Burak, thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And for all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on another episode of Citizen Talks, and we hope to see you next time.